Okay, I think we're going to be live again. I think. Let's see. We are. We are live. We are live. So now I'm going to go live on Amazon. Okay, we are in business. So for those of you tuning in, I'll be live for probably the next hour or so. And what we're going to be doing is unboxing this new laptop from Lenovo. This is on loan from them, so they get it back when we're done. That's how it works. And I'm happy to do that because I get in so much stuff that I prefer to have things go back to where they came from when I get them in. So we're going to unbox the laptop. This is the C940 from Lenovo. And what I'm excited about, here you can see what it looks like here. I got to turn my screen on here, so give me 1 second. Hello, Rasmus. Welcome to the chat. Hello, Jenny Ma. Welcome on Amazon. And if you are watching, give me a second here. My system's got to catch. There it goes. Now, if you are watching on Amazon, don't be shy. You can chat with me. I'm actually here in person, so you can say hi. It's kind of a weird thing because you're on Amazon looking to buy stuff, and then you see me like popping up. So it's got to be kind of weird. So for those of you tuning in on YouTube and Amazon, I'm going to be doing Twitch soon too. I'm going to try to do a TriCast, although I don't think my current bandwidth will support that, but I've got some ideas for how to make that work. So we're going to unbox the C940. And this machine, which we'll be unboxing in a second, I'm going to be recording this from my extras channel. What I'm excited about is that this is the second computer now that's got the new 10th generation Intel chip inside. And why you should care about this is that the Intel chips have been lagging behind on graphics for a long time. You could, of course, supplement that by putting a GPU in. But as we saw from a few months ago, when we looked at the Acer Slim, which has the AMD Ryzen, that thing costs like less than $400, and it's got awesome graphical performance for that price tag. The Intel chips now are starting to catch up, although they're still more expensive than the AMD equivalent. So we're going to not be looking at all of that yet because we're going to unbox this. And then Jake, who helps me out here on the channel, is going to come by and take it from me. And he's going to do his thing with it. And it looks like we might have some streaming challenges today, so my stream health is not good. So hopefully we'll get through this. We'll see what happens. And if we have an issue, I will turn down the bandwidth or something like that. Okay, this is the problem when you have limited bandwidth. I don't have that much to begin with, so I've got like 12 megabits per second. I think when I'm just looking on my screen here. So let's see, the main channel we're doing. I don't know what we're doing on here. Let's see, 1 and 2. So 1 is, yeah. So I am doing about 2,500 megabits per second per platform. So for both Amazon and YouTube, I need about 5 megabits per second sustained. So that's about half of my available bandwidth. So that's why I kind of dialed that number in, but sometimes it gets a little iffy. So this might be one of those days where things just, in the interwebs are not working right. We're having a bad weather day here. So it's been raining since Sunday night. And I guess tomorrow it's going to snow. And I've been eager to get that drone going that we got in the other day, and I can't do anything with it because the weather's been so lousy. So hopefully we will get to that. So if you're just tuning in, what we're going to be doing is unboxing this machine from Lenovo, the C940. After that, we are going to shoot a review of the new Amazon Echo Studio speaker that I got in. And I'm really impressed with it. I was not expecting it to sound very good, and it sounds great. The problem when you review a speaker is that it's hard for me to communicate what the speaker sounds like to people because you're relying on my microphone and your computer speakers to hear it. So we're going to have to do one of those things where you got to take my word for it, and this is how it works. The good news is with the studio here is that it works as a home theater speaker with the Fire TV. So we could actually show how that works. So there's something to actually do in the video. I always like to have visuals, so that is helpful. So I want to say hello to some folks who are here on YouTube, and then we'll begin the recording of the unboxing. We've got Rasmus, Nethead, Sina, Geo Ninja 1, hello, Miguel, Too Much Sauce is here, welcome, good to see you. Hot Sauce and Video Games is here, speaking of sauce. Unfiltered F is here without the vowels, but he's got a U in there, so he's got that. Stan Sprinkle actually has a relevant question to what we're about to unbox. He's torn between the C940 and the Spectre. He bought the Spectre yesterday, so he's wondering if the C940 is the way to go. We'll see. We're not going to review it today. We're going to just unbox it now, and then Jake's going to take it later tonight, and then hopefully by the weekend we'll have the review up. So I got a lot of PCs to shoot. Actually, we have 3 on the docket. It's a busy time of year. You got to get all this stuff out there for holiday shopping seasons and stuff. So BB Garnett is here, Tom is here, Gregory is here, Brad is here, Simon is here, Ed Alder is here, and John Doe says it's his real name. Probably is. You know, there's got to be somebody named John Doe. I don't fault you for that. All right. Believe it or not, there is another person with my exact name, down to the middle name actually. If you do a Google search, you will find an attorney who has my exact same name. And I think there was some other thing we had in common too. I don't think it's our birthday is the same, but I forgot what it was. But he actually looks like me too, so it's not hard to do that. Eustace Kid is here. Rasmus is here. We got him before. Patrick Chang is here too. Hello, everybody. All right, folks. I got to unbox this thing. I got stuff to do because we are going to be short for time if I don't start now, because it is now 4:30. And my wife is at a meeting. I've got somebody watching the kids upstairs. And then when she gets back, I got to start cooking dinner. So we've got some good stuff to do tonight. So Stan Sprinkle says, thanks for your Wise reviews. Helped me decide on Christmas. Oh, good. I'm glad that helped. Yeah, I like the Wise stuff. In fact, I have the Wise plug running the holiday Christmas decorations upstairs. So we've got all sorts of good stuff. And yes, Patrick, that is not the Mac Pro. It looks like the Mac Pro, doesn't it? I kind of like that design. I just wish it wasn't so expensive. You know, it's funny, when I was looking for a desktop computer for the channel, I have an iMac, and I went with the iMac because when I looked at the price versus what you'd get, the cylinder Mac Pro, you know, was a little more powerful, but for what I do, it wasn't that much more powerful, and it was a lot more money without a screen. So for me, the iMac made a lot more sense than the Mac Pro. So I think they priced the new Mac Pro appropriately. So we'll see where it goes from there. All right, Jonathan is here, Jack is here. All right, let's get going on this unboxing. Let's do that, and then we'll get the Echo thing going, and then I'll take some more chat stuff. So without further ado, oops. My recording isn't working here. Come on, TriCaster. There we go. 3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, it's Lon.TV, and it's time for another unboxing, and today we're going to take a C940 Yoga from Lenovo out of the box, and then we'll have a full review coming up soon on my main channel at Lon.TV. Now before we take it out of the box, I do want to let you know, in the interest of full disclosure, that this came in on loan from Lenovo. So when we're done with this, it goes back to them. All of the opinions you're about to hear are my own. Nobody is paying for this unboxing, nor is anyone reviewing it or approving it before it gets uploaded. So let's get into it now and see what's inside of this box. All right, one take wonder today. It is always good when I can talk. All right, hang on one second, folks. I'm just waiting for my TriCaster to catch up here. You might see a little glitchiness going on here. The hard drive is reading. And I'm going to upgrade the TriCaster shortly, by the way, because they have a new one, and I want to do some 4K stuff. The new one has, you know, it's funny, I want to do 4K because all my cameras can do 4K. I don't have the bandwidth to do 4K, but I'm going to do it anyhow, at least for uploads. But the part of the reason why is that it's really flexible if you want to run the TriCaster in another room. So if I wanted to do stuff in other parts of the house, I can stream all the video down here via NDI and not have to bring the TriCaster upstairs with me for everything and control it. So that's why we're doing that. Richard wants to know if the C940 has a glossy screen. Well, we will find out in a minute because I'm about to take it out of the box. Tom B, thanks for my review on the PR2100. He purchased it. Yeah, so the WD PR2100 is the NAS that I use for media in the house here. I segmented my my NAS for data stuff from my NAS for media, just to have two different devices on the switch on their own. And so I've got a Synology for all my data stuff, and I use the WD for videos and movies and TV shows, and it's a great Plex server. It's been running for the last 2 years or so. It's been really good. Just so you know, we're probably going to have some streaming difficulties on YouTube today. So if you are having issues, it's Comcast's fault. It always is. DJ Hall is here. He's on the subway. Awesome. You know, I have been getting much more confident about taking the subway. I used to be concerned I'd get lost. But I've been very happy with the Google Maps thing, and I'm starting to really get good at navigating the subway. What's cool in New York City now is that on some of the, I think it's the 4, 5, and 6 line, because I usually go to Grand Central and then go off from there. They now take Apple Pay and Samsung and Google Pay at the turnstile, so you don't have to go and get a Metro card now. I can just go up to it and tap my watch and go on. It doesn't work well for frequent riders because they don't have the bulk purchase thing that you can do on the Metro card yet. But for me, who comes in like every month or so, it's pretty convenient. You just hit the watch and get on the subway. It's good stuff. Vladimir Putin is here. Welcome. Vladimir, I'd love to know your real name, but maybe it could be the real one. Who knows? Okay. Let us unbox this thing. And Jenny Ma, by the way, is joining us on Amazon. And you can see me streaming on Amazon too if you'd like. All right, so let's pick it up from this shot here. 3, 2, 1. All right, so let's dig into the box here and see what is inside. There are 2 boxes, actually. This box and then another box where the laptop is currently situated. So let's take a look at this box first and see what is inside. And this is a good opportunity to give you my new overhead shot. So there we go. So let's move this box out of the way for a second and see what we've got in the accessory side of things here. Looks like it unboxes itself this way. So in here we've got the power cable, and I would expect to see, yep, there it is, our power adapter. This is your standard Lenovo fare. It is a USB-C power adapter, and it looks like it's a 65-watt adapter, so there you go on that. And let's get the computer itself out of the box here and see what it all looks like. There we go, and there it is. So let's unbox it here, take off the front cover. It's nicely situated. This is one of these all-in-ones, so you can use it as a tablet or as just a display or a laptop. Feels pretty nice. Very nice looking here. This is the only thing in here, I think. There is just some instructions and stuff in here. All right, so let's switch back to our other view and flip it out. So there you go. It looks very nice. Now, I believe this one has a 4K display, and it is a glossy display here, so it's not a matte finish because this is a touch display. We've got the usual Lenovo keyboard here. I think there's a couple different colors available. This one is the gold one. Not too bad on the weight. Not bad at all. So I'm going to power it up here. Again, we're going to have a full review soon on the main channel at Lon.TV. They've got the Atmos soundbar, which I think we saw in the prior generation of these Yoga devices. And one of the things that I've loved about the Yogas over the years is that the hinge is really smooth on these. So this one is no exception to that. So that looks and feels pretty nice there. The ports on this one include a full-size USB port. We've got 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports here, and these have generally been running with the 4-lane bandwidth, so you should be able to get external GPUs hooked up and everything else. You've got audio here for headphones and microphones, and then over on this side there is nothing. So you've got your 2 ports here, and that is it. Now, what I'm eager to test with this one is the new Intel chip inside. This has a 10th generation i7 processor. This is now running with Iris Plus graphics. I got to check my sheet here for a second. And what we saw on this chipset is that the graphical performance for a stock Intel chip is a lot better than what we've seen in the past. So we're going to definitely be running some games on this to see how everything performs there. So we've got a lot to test on this one. The one they sent us comes equipped, I think, with a 256 gigabyte SSD. The RAM is not upgradable, so whatever RAM configuration you choose, you'll need to do when you purchase it, but it is possible to upgrade the storage. The solid-state drive is removable, but not the RAM. So we'll have a full review of this coming up very shortly on the main channel at Lon.TV, so stay tuned. All right. Good to go there. I think we've got our unboxing done. I like to leave something for people to look forward to in the full review, so hopefully that will be a good enough unboxing. C940 unboxing conclusion. All right. So that is it. So I can take a couple of questions on this one here. And you can tell me, you can ask away real quick, and then I will come back. I got some folks on Amazon talking. AD Brown says, dude, could you wait 30 minutes so we can get off from work? I would love to. You know what the problem is that my evenings are, I'm just going to adjust the camera here for a second. My evenings are always tough because if I don't get my kids eating dinner at a certain time, then they don't go to bed at a certain time, and it gets really difficult. So I would love to stream a little later in the evening, and I will do that as time allows. So sorry about that. And I wonder if this AD Brown, I wonder if this is my friend Andy Brown from college. If it is, let me know. An Amazon customer says it looks like a nice Lenovo Yoga. Yeah, these are really nice. These are kind of in the mid to high range of their offerings. So they are pretty nice there. Price on the C940, let me check and see. I think there's one I'm linking to on Amazon right now that is about $1,400. So I think this will be in like the $1,500 range, give or take, depending on what you look at. Looks like the one they sent us has the i7. So this one I would say is probably north of $1,500, given that it has that chip and the 4K display. This is kind of the higher end one. One other thing that I like about the Lenovos is that most of their products now are coming with a shutter on the camera lens. Let me pop in a little closer here so you can see that. And that's a neat new feature. And you know what I'm going to do? Because this will save us some time later, is I'm going to do some B-roll of this so we don't have to shoot it again when we do the review. How's that sound, everybody? Let's get in on that. There we go. I'm just going to run a little B-roll clip here. And then you can just flick it shut, and now that camera's shut, so you don't have to put tape on it. See? That is it. Pretty cool. All right, so that is good. Now I got B-roll. It's always good. That's what's nice about doing these streams is that it's actually making, believe it or not, you would think, oh, having to set up a stream and everything is not productive, but this actually has been helping my productivity. So I've been quite pleased with the fact that I've been doing these streams on Amazon. It's actually given me some ability to get more work done. All right, so we're going to say Lenovo C940 B-roll camera shutter. I don't think many others are doing these shutters on their laptops like this either. And actually, the Lenovo Smart Display we're going to look at has that feature as well. Pretty good stuff. And AD Brown is Amda Brown from YouTube. Ah, okay, that's right. Okay, cool. So thanks for popping over to Amazon. I went to school with a guy named Andy Brown, who's a good friend of mine, so I thought maybe that was him. But I am happy to hear from you too. All right, let me get a few questions in here. We have some folks talking about New York City. I love New York City. Richard says it looks like his C940. Yeah, they tend to, I found with Lenovo and many other manufacturers for that matter, they tend to have these laptop designs stick around for a couple of years. Dell has been largely with the same look since 2015 on a lot of their stuff, like the 15-inch laptops and stuff. So, I'm guessing there's a tremendous cost in designing these chassis. You're looking at a lot of the same materials you'd make a car out of, aluminum and really nice metals. And I think it's, when you got something that works, don't upset the apple cart really, and the guts can be interchanged, right? So Apple too, right? Apple keeps their designs for a long time. They just recently revved the design on the MacBook Pro. So the 15 is now a 16 on the MacBook. And you don't get the lousy keyboard anymore. You've got that membrane keyboard coming back. So they actually kind of went backwards a little bit, while still incorporating some of the newer designs there. Let's see. So Dapster says, since you're reviewing the Echo Show, let me know if you like it. I'm thinking of buying it. Yeah, so I haven't, I need to do that because I do have an Echo Show, and I never got around to reviewing it. I reviewed the first generation Echo Show. I like it. The one thing, and this is I have the same criticism of the Google smart home display devices, is that I wish they would run like standard Android apps because they are kind of running a version of Android. Because I would love to be able to just use them as like a little TV in the kitchen or something and just have that running with my HD home run stuff. And unfortunately, they don't work like that. All right, so I'm going to put this back in the box because Jake is going to come here tonight and pick this up. And he's also going to pick up that shuttle PC that I posted to the Extras channel today as well. And he's going to get all those things tested. And then hopefully tomorrow, I got a lot to shoot tomorrow because so tomorrow we're getting in this Blackmagic switcher. And I'm really excited for that because it's a 4-input video switcher that costs the same, to some degree, what you pay for a capture card, but it's like a full-on switcher. And it streams apparently also. So I am getting that in tomorrow. And I want to I'll probably live stream as I'm messing around with that. And then hopefully we'll review that and get that one posted ASAP. And then I want to shoot my review of the little Lenovo mini PC we got in and unboxed here 2 weeks ago. Because that one's we've already done all of our analysis on it. I just haven't had time to shoot it. So I want to get that shot. I got a whole bunch of stuff to do. This is like crunch time because we're in the holiday season and there's a lot of people looking to buy stuff. And I want to be able to provide them all of that information. Okay, so the next thing on the docket here, let me see if I have a few more questions from anybody. All right, we have, by the way, as I'm doing this stuff, I'm going to miss people chatting. So if you have a question that you want me to answer, don't be afraid to ask it again. Just don't ask too many times to annoy everyone else. Let's see, the shutter, let me see here. What did I say I'm reviewing here? I just want to make sure I have the right, okay, good, Echo Studio, right. All right. DJ Hale wants my opinion on the Echo Sub. Yeah, I should get that in also. What you'll hear me talk about with the Echo Studio, let me get it on the desk here, is that I almost wish that I bought 2 of them because it is good on its own, but I would imagine 2 would be awesome together. So I'm just going to straighten my camera out here in a second too. All right, let's see what other questions we got here. Richard likes Lenovo laptops. They're good. They're very solid devices. They know how to make a computer, and they make a lot of computers. I can't believe how many different Lenovo models there are. It's crazy. They've been loaning me computers for a long time, and I mean, it's like every week there's something new. It's crazy how the capacity that they have to do that. All right. Darren Brown wants to know, are the edges sharp like they were in the 920? No, they're not as sharp as they were. They were definitely sharp, for sure. Technology here wants me to say his name. Hello, Technology. Richard Holmston hates the fact that they don't run YouTube well, but they play Vivo videos now, which is better. I'm always talking about the Echo Show. Yeah, that's an issue with the YouTube stuff. And what's funny, what really gets me is that they don't have... on the Fire TV. So Fire TV has the YouTube app, but the tablets don't. And so you still have to kind of use the other thing for YouTube on the tablets. All right, let's see what else we got here, and then I'm going to get to work on the next thing. So check out a bunch of stuff here. It's always great to see people talking to each other and being nice to each other in the chat. I really like that. I got a great community here, so I really appreciate everybody being so nice to each other. Yeah, it is heavy, DJ Hale. This is no joke. And it's funny because I don't know if people, from the pictures realize how big this is. I think Amazon has done a better job than most in kind of showing the size of it. Now, the comparable product to this would be the Apple HomePod. And when that thing came in, I couldn't believe how big it was compared to the pictures because Apple just photographed it on its own like they do all their products. And to get the context of it, I was like, oh my gosh, this thing's enormous. As you'll hear in the review, this thing sounds a lot better than the HomePod. I think this is a really good speaker. I was really impressed with it. Star Trekker, live long and prosper. I wish I could do that thing with my hand. I am such a Star Trek fan. I just feel like I'm not living up to the creed by not being able to do that. All right. Yes, Constable Odo B.B. Garnett passed away. I was really shocked to hear that he died. He had lung cancer. You know, I don't know what this weighs. I wonder if it says it on the box here. I could go weigh it real quick if you guys want to know. I'm not sure what this weighs. I can go weigh it real quick before we get started. I'll do that. Amazon customer has a comment or a question. They bought a Pepper Jobs GLK mini PC. And thanks for my review of that computer. Yeah, it's a good one. I think that one's the best of the mini PCs that I've looked at in that category. It's a very good device. And that was one of our products of the year. All right, everybody, I'm going to go weigh this real quick so everybody knows what it weighs. And then that'll be a good talking point for the review. So let me turn on my shipping scale here. You can't see me doing this because I'm on the other side of the room. But let's take a look here. I'm going to put it on the scale. Wow, it weighs 7 pounds, 10 and a half ounces, or 10 ounces. Yeah, 7 pounds, 10 ounces. And I will do the math on that. 7 pounds, 10 ounces. So it's no joke. But there's a lot of speakers in this thing, which is why it weighs 7 pounds, 10 ounces. So let me just write down the weight. And I'll do a quick conversion on the metric side. Yeah, Hot Sauce says that was my baby weight. Yeah, it weighs about, like a good-sized newborn is what you're. So you could take it out of the box. If you're having a baby, you could practice, cradling this. The weight is distributed differently though with this. The newborn is a little bit more distributed. This thing's kind of, centralized. 7 pounds, 10 ounces in grams. Let's see. All right, so it is 3.4, yeah, 3.5, basically 3.5 kilograms. So that is what it weighs, pretty beefy. And I always do both the imperial and metric because half of my audience is outside the US and the UK. So it's good to cover all the bases so everyone can make a proper analysis of what the weight is for their particular need there. So let's get that camera zoomed in a little bit. I'm going to beef up the exposure just slightly. Let me check on the... I'm still working with my new lights here, and I'm trying to get everything to work properly here. So let's turn up a little bit of brightness on that front. What do you guys and gals think of that? Does it look straight? And how's the exposure look? Let me know in the chat. I think that looks pretty good. I just want to make sure that the camera is level. Looks good. Everybody says they look good. Good. All right. Looks good to me. All right. Shall we do this? Shall we do this, everybody? Shall we shoot the video? I am going to do an overhead shot. I wonder if... See, it looks good in that spot. If I move it here to get into the overhead, because I could show the buttons on the top. Let's see if we can move that shot just slightly there. I think that still works. I think that still works. What I want to do eventually, so you see in the shot here, this pole. That pole is what is holding up my overhead rig here right now. So I have somebody coming in to attach the rig up top to the ceiling, and that will make things a lot better. All right, so I'll move the thing over here. And let me just I just want to find a good spot that works for the overhead shot, because if I can I like to try to get as much as I can get done in a single take so I don't have to keep stopping and starting. Because if I'm able to communicate my words well, see, the words don't always come out of my... If I start this late in the afternoon, I tend to have problems talking. I don't know what it is. It's my advanced age here, perhaps. Okay, there we go. All right. Okay, Amazon customer says it looks good. I think everyone else says it looks good. And everyone can see the texture well. And you know, I wonder if that shot though looks a little crooked. I can't really tell. I think I'm gonna just do one little nudge on the camera to get it just a tad bit more level. I think that looks okay. Let me take a look. I spend a lot of time just getting things adjusted when I'm shooting because I know some viewers, if they see something that's just slightly out of whack, it really impacts their enjoyment of the video and impacts the retention. So I try to get a lot of those things worked out. And part of the challenge is that for whatever reason, these cameras I use these JVC cameras, and I chose these because they have the ability to output 4K. And then the other reason I use them is that they can output a true 30p over HDMI into my TriCaster, which is not always the case with a lot of these consumer cameras. All right. Yeah, I think I could probably put something on the desk to just line everything up. The problem is every product is different. So, you know, you have to zoom the camera in and adjust the position on the table depending on what it is. Because a lot of times for a laptop, I'll put it kind of over here on the edge just because it looks better. But for this one, because of how it looks, I think this probably is better. Yeah, I think we're good. That looks pretty good. All right, so my wife is coming home, which means that I have got about a half an hour to get all this done. All right. As far as the mics go on this, there are a lot of them on here, and we'll talk about that. And that is because you want to be able to pick it up, you know, no matter which way you're looking at it in the room. What's interesting about this one, though, is that it's designed, let me show you the other view, it's designed to face in this direction. So although it doesn't have any speakers on the back of it, it's got an upward firing speaker, but it's really, you know, it's kind of designed to be projecting out this way. Oh, my lights just flickered. Hang on, hopefully we don't lose the internet here. I think we're still streaming. We had a power outage yesterday around this time also. So hopefully we don't lose anything. I got everything on UPSs. I've got a backup generator now in the house, and I bought the generator about 2 years ago, and it never was needed until yesterday. So we used to get power outages here all the time, and we never got any. So okay. Yeah, if the A word is in charge of the lights as well. I try not to use that word because oh, you know what? My light just went out. Hang on. Oh, you got to be kidding me. It like killed my light. That power blip just killed this light. All right, you know what we're going to do? We're going to pop this out and draw power out of it. Sorry, you're seeing my midriff here. So the other light came back up, but this one did not. So let me get this going again here. I wonder if it blew a fuse in the power supply or on the light itself. Bear with me, folks. I got to just do a little switcheroo here. Oh, you know what? I was unplugging the wrong thing. That's part of the problem. But still, this light is not coming back on, and it should be. So let's go down to the device itself here. Ooh, this thing's really warm, too. There it goes. Okay, hang on a second, folks. Wow, you know what? I think this light just went out on me. Let me kill this real quick. I'm going to kill both lights completely. So while I'm working on this, there was a question on Amazon about whether or not this supports Dolby Atmos, and it does support Atmos, with the caveat that it has to be connected to an Amazon Fire TV device. Yeah, this thing's shot. Huh. Well, the good news is that I have another one of these lights that I wasn't using. But it kills me. I just got these things, and to have them like die on me already, that's terrible. All right, bear with me, folks. The good news is that no magic smoke came out anywhere, but we definitely don't want our lights to fail after just purchasing them. So I'm going to try one other thing. I just want to make sure that it's the light and not something. All right, now that one went out. That one comes back on. That one's off. Let's plug this one directly into the wall and see if it... Yeah, I want to say it's the power supply that went out on this, so let me go grab the other one and see if that might work. Bear with me, folks. Technical difficulties. That power blip created some problems. Hang on. I might lose the microphone as I go back into my lair here. But I have another light somewhere. Where did it go? I bought 3 of them. At least I thought I did. But I think what I might do is get a surge protector to protect those lights, because clearly something just did a number on it. Now I had another one. Where did I put it? I bought 3 of these things together and I can't find the other one. This light is just not working. Sorry folks, this is the challenges of live TV here. All right, bear with me for one more second. I just got to go back and find that other light. And hopefully we can get started on the video. If not, I'm going to swap the power supply around and that'll fix it. All right, well, we're going to now troubleshoot and see. I don't know where the other, I know I had 3 of these lights, but one of them, all right, there we go. All right, so the power supply on that light went out, but it is still working here, so I think we're good. Okay. Now I've got wires hanging over my head that I've got to deal with, so let me get that out of the way here. And then we can get started. Okay. How's that looking, everybody? I think it looks pretty good. So we're down a light. I got to call Dracast now and get a replacement power supply. Actually, I probably could find one for these. Just got to figure out what the voltage is on it. The good news is the light is okay. It's the power supply that went. And let me just adjust this a little bit and get a better angle on it so I'm not getting too much glare on me. And it's weird is that it seems like it's brighter than it was a few minutes ago. Oh, you know what though? It's going to kill my overhead shot. So check this out. Ooh, look how terrible that is. Okay, so let me go figure out what the DC 30 watts, 12 volts. All right, I think I've got some batteries I can use in the meantime that can hold us over. I gotta have something else that can work with this thing. This is really killing me. I'm quite upset about this. And what's funny is it lights up like right as I'm pulling it out. I think and there's no way you can get at a fuse in this thing either. It's just completely. You know what? It's lighting up again. So let me see. I just kind of reseated the plug really firmly. But because we had like a little power blip, I'm thinking there's something wrong with it. But maybe when it starts getting low, it fails on us. Sorry for the delay, everybody. I'm just trying to get this lighting issue resolved. And then we'll keep going here. Yep, this is my life, everybody. David makes a good point in the chat room that I am doing all of this myself, which is very true. So when something breaks, I got to figure out how to fix it. And a lot of times I'm going into uncharted territory. All right, that works. Now let's see if the other one works now. But I think what this tells me is that I need to get some extra power supplies for these lights. Because otherwise, if this happens again, which is likely. All right, there we go. Okay. Okay, everybody. Problem solved. Let's get back into business here. Let me just wipe down my forehead. The one thing I haven't started doing is wearing makeup, and I had a friend tell me that I really should, because my forehead gets very shiny. So that's something I want to do. Okay, we are ready to go. Now I think we are in better shape. The lights are all working. It's very well lit now. I think we are in good shape. That shot looks pretty good. Yeah, I think we're good. Okay. Now I get my notes out. And these things are really, again, these are hard for me to review because these are speakers. And it's very difficult for viewers to appreciate what a speaker sounds like through a YouTube video. And you'll see people do these things where they, they do a speaker sound check. And it's hard to do that because it's coming in through this microphone and then it's using your computer speakers to get out there. So it's really hard, I think, for people to get the true sense as to what it sounds like just through that. Okay, everybody, I am ready to go. So let me start recording here and we will move on from there. Got my notes. By the way, this is my cheat sheet. Let me show you what it looks like. This is actually a more involved cheat sheet than usual. So what I do is, as I'm evaluating a product, I take notes. And then from those notes, I develop a worksheet that gives me an idea as to exactly what I want to talk about and the order in which I want to do that in. What I'm doing right here is I'm just putting up the picture of it because I'm going to use this as a reference to talk about the speaker placement. So that's how I'm going to work with this. And Devi Nully here says speaker reviews are like wine tastings, which is very true. And and it's hard because my target audience are not audiophiles, it's general consumers. So that's what I usually kind of gear it towards. All right. I think we are ready to go here. So let me get the ball rolling on this one. All right. And I got some cool B-roll, by the way, of this woofer here jumping on some music. You won't be able to see that in the live stream here, but it'll be on the final review. All right. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody, it's Lon Seidman, and we're taking a look today at the Amazon Echo Studio. My computer fired off. Hang on a second. Got to turn off the sound. There we go. Take two. 3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody. Hang on. I got to turn off the other computer there. David Yablonsky, thank you very much for your super chat contribution. It is appreciated. And I just need to turn off my iMac's speaker over here, because it was making noise. There we go. Okay, let me try this again here. All right. Take three. Take three. And yes, Debbie Nully, it actually is better than the soundbar. In fact, this might be a good soundbar for Amazon Fire TV users, in fact. All right, I'm going to get centered there. All right. 3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody, it's Lon.TV, and we're taking a look today at the Amazon Echo Studio. This is a rather large and heavy speaker, but it's the best sounding Amazon speaker I have used, and I was very pleased with the audio quality out of this. And there's a couple of other interesting features, especially for home theater users who are very much invested in the Amazon Fire TV. So we're going to explore a lot of different things about this product here in just a second. But I do want to let you know, in the interest of full disclosure, that I paid for this with my own funds. All of the opinions you're about to hear are my own. Nobody is paying for this review, nor is anyone reviewing it or approving it before it gets uploaded. So let's get into it now and see what this speaker is all about. All right, good. And that reminds me, I think what I might want to do is change the trigger word on this thing. I'm not going to do all that much A-word stuff with it, because I think everyone kind of knows what these things do by now. Let's see, 10,000. It's going to start a new clip number here. Fire TV Studio, Echo Studio. And I'm just going to play this back real quick to make sure it sounds the way I'd like it to sound. So stand by. 3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody, it's Lon.TV, and we're taking a look today at the Amazon Echo Studio. This is a rather large and heavy speaker, but it's the best sounding Amazon speaker I have used, and I was very pleased with the audio quality. And we're taking a look today at the Amazon Echo Studio. This is a rather large and heavy speaker, but it's the best sounding Amazon speaker I have used, and I was very pleased with the audio quality out of this. And there's a couple of other interesting features, especially for home theater users who are very much invested in the Amazon Fire TV. So we're going to explore a lot of different things about this product here in just a second. But I do want to let you know, in the interest of full disclosure, that I paid for this with my own funds. All of the opinions you're about to hear are my own. Nobody is paying for this review, nor is anyone reviewing it or approving it before it gets uploaded. So let's get into it now and see what this speaker is all about. All right, good. Okay, so we're going to start back off on this shot. And Aaron Johnson was chatting about the Plex offerings on their free TV service. And yeah, I agree. I think it's going to get better. They have to get more partnerships to get more content, so that'll be something that transpires over time. And the challenge they're going to have is working with some of the license holders for all this content as well. Someone asked, I think I answered this before on the Amazon chat, but just in case I didn't, someone's asking if this supports Dolby Atmos, and it does. It's got all the right speakers in the right places, and as you're going to hear me talk about, you do need two of them, I think, to really get the home theater experience properly executed here. You can pair up two and have them work that way, but it's definitely something you're going to want to do, because it sounds great on its own. But you're hearing all the sound come from one direction, so I think that's where it goes. All right, let's jump in here to the next part. 3, 2, 1. So let's take a closer look now at, whoa, my whole desk shakes when I move it. 3, 2, 1. So let's take a closer look now at the hardware. As you can see, this is very large compared to other Amazon Echo devices, and it's also quite heavy. It's 7 pounds, 10 ounces, or 3.5 kilograms. So it's definitely going to weigh a bit more when you bring it in from your front porch there, so be ready for that. You can use it by itself, but you can also pair it up with another one, and we're going to talk about why you might want to do that a little later. This costs $199 on its own, so if you want to buy two, of course, you're going to be doubling that price. So there is a premium entry point here, and I think they're looking at Sonos and maybe the HomePod as competing products to this one. Now there's a bunch of speakers in here that you can't see because it's got the stuff all around it, but I'll lay in a photo here so you can see where all the speakers are placed. And what they're doing with this is supporting Dolby Atmos. And so having the speakers positioned the way they do will help run those Atmos audio files. I'm going to start that again. I think we need to be a little bit, I'm trying to figure out where the best place to drop in the B-roll. So I'm not doing the B-roll live, so I've got to think about where to best put it there. Let's try one more time here. David Tuttle, thank you for the kind words. Technology wants me to review a dual mode Wi-Fi access point and extender. I don't know which one he's asking me to look at. Problem with those things is that you gotta, if it's not a name brand, I don't get a lot of viewership on it, so it's a lot of time investment and not a lot of viewership, unfortunately. So I've gotten away from doing those things. All right, 3, 2, 1. Hang on, my wife is making noise upstairs. See, I'm going to have to go up there in a minute and say, you know, we're kind of, I need one of those like things that light up that say we're live or on air. So we've been doing a big house purge. We have a bunch of people coming over Friday night, so we're trying to make sure everything is working. All right, start this again here, 3, 2, 1. So let's take a closer look now at the hardware. The price point on this one is $199, and as you'll hear in a few minutes, you might want to get two, especially if your intent is to use it as a home theater speaker. It sounds great on its own, but I think you really need two to get the full effect of the Atmos audio that it supports. Now, speaking of Atmos, it has an upward firing speaker. So it meets that criteria for the over-the-head stuff. It's going to bounce that audio off the ceiling back down to you. There's also some 3D audio that takes advantage of this as well. But there's other speakers on this too. You've got a front-facing speaker. It is a 1-inch firing tweeter. You've got on the left and right side 2-inch mid-range speakers. This one here at the top is a 2-inch upward firing mid-range, and then it's got a huge 5¼ inch downward woofer for bass. And a little bit earlier we were playing some heavy metal rock music, and that thing was really thumping. The bass out of this isn't bad. It's not quite subwoofer deep, but it's pretty close. And I've been looking at a lot of inexpensive sound bars lately, and this sounds much, much better than those. In fact, on its own, it's a decent soundbar alternative, especially if you have a Fire TV, because it pairs up really nicely with that. There's a couple different ways to get audio into this. So of course the ideal way is through Amazon's devices and services. And I think for the 3D audio and the Atmos audio that this supports, that's the only way you're going to get that 3D effect. But you can also bring in audio via Bluetooth. You can use your favorite music services that are compatible with the Amazon Alexa services. And then on the back here, you also have an analog and fiber optic input. So you can plug an optical cable or an analog cable into that jack there. You got your power input here, and then there is a USB port, which is not currently used. And that is pretty much it. For the most part, it behaves like other Amazon Echo devices, although this one is kind of more directional because it doesn't have any speakers in the back. So you're going to want to angle the front of it into the room in which you're projecting audio. I'm guessing it'll sound okay in the middle of a room somewhere. I did test that earlier, but the sound really sounds better when you're kind of facing it than you are sitting behind it. So I would keep that in mind if you are thinking about filling up a room with sound. Some of the other Amazon Echo devices have speakers all the way around them to give you more of an all-around sound. Again, there's nothing coming out of the back of this one. All right. How was that, everybody? And let's go. I do pop my Ps quite a bit, folks, so there will sometimes be a little pop that happens. I got to get a... I've tried everything to prevent my popping from happening, and if I don't, because I'm using a lavalier, it's like just impossible to prevent it completely. All right, I'm just going to play this back, even though it's like 3 minutes long, because I want to make sure I covered all of my all of the points I wanted to make in this section. To answer Richard's question, you cannot, the only Atmos support is going to be through the Amazon Fire ecosystem, the Fire TV, and I'll make that point when we get to the home theater section, because that is it. And that's the one thing, I'm starting to see this now. We're seeing like speakers that only work with one platform. We just saw it with the Roku subwoofer the other day, and now we're seeing it with this stuff too. So yeah, you can't do it. All right, let's play this back real quick. Here, 3, 2, 1. So let's take a closer look now at the hardware. The price point on this one is $199, and as you'll hear in a few minutes, you might want to get two, especially if your intent is to use it as a home theater speaker. It sounds great on its own, but I think you really need two to get the full effect of the Atmos audio that it supports. Now, speaking of Atmos, it has an upward firing speaker, so it meets that criteria for the over-the-head stuff. It's going to bounce that audio off the ceiling back down to you. There's also some 3D audio that takes advantage of this as well. But there's other speakers on this too. You've got a front-facing speaker. It is a 1-inch firing tweeter. You've got on the left and right side 2-inch mid-range speakers. This one here at the top is a 2-inch upward firing mid-range, and then it's got a huge 5¼ inch downward woofer for bass. And a little bit earlier we were playing some heavy metal rock music, and that thing was really thumping. The bass out of this isn't bad. It's not quite word woofer for bass, and a little bit firing mid-range, 2-inch mid-range speakers. This one, by the way, I'm rewinding it just to make sure I'm hearing what I'm listening for here, so sorry. One here at the top is a 2-inch upward firing mid-range, and then it's got a huge 5¼ inch downward woofer for bass. And a little bit earlier we were playing some heavy metal rock music, and that thing was really thumping. The bass out of this isn't bad. It's not quite subwoofer deep, but it's pretty close. And I've been looking at a lot of inexpensive sound bars lately, and this sounds much, much better than those. In fact, on its own, it's a decent soundbar alternative, especially if you have a Fire TV, because it pairs up really nicely with that. There's a couple different ways to get audio into this. So of course the ideal way is through Amazon's devices and services, and I think for the 3D audio and the Atmos audio that this supports, that's the only way you're going to get that 3D effect. But you can also bring in audio via Bluetooth. You can use your favorite music services that are compatible with the Amazon Alexa services. And then on the back here, you also have an analog and fiber optic input. So you can plug an optical cable or an analog cable into that jack there. You got your power input here, and then there is a USB port, which is not currently used. And that is pretty much it. For the most part, it behaves like other Amazon Echo devices, although this one is kind of more directional because it doesn't have any speakers in the back. So you're going to want to angle the front of it into the room in which you're projecting audio. I'm guessing it'll sound okay in the middle of a room somewhere. I did test that earlier, but the sound really sounds better when you're kind of facing it than you are sitting behind it. So I would keep that in mind if you are thinking about filling up a room with sound. Some of the other Amazon Echo devices have speakers all the way around them to give you more of an all-around sound. Again, there's nothing coming out of the back of this one. All right, I think that was good. Oh, William, thank you for the reminder on Bluetooth, because that is something that it does support as well. So when I pick up the next shot, I'm going to mention that. Let me just hear what I said right at the end of that last spot there. Amazon Echo devices have speakers all the way around them to give you more of an all-around sound. Again, there's nothing coming out of the back of this one. Right. Of it into the room in which you're projecting audio. I'm guessing it'll sound okay in the middle of a room somewhere. I did test that earlier, but the sound really room with sound. Some of the other Amazon. And then on the back here, you also have an analog and fiber optic input. So you can plug an optical cable or an analog cable into that jack there. You got your power input here, and then there is a USB port, which is not currently used. So what we're going to do, thank you, first of all, William, thank you for that reminder, because I almost completely forgot about the fact that it supports Bluetooth also. So let me just fix my cabinet here. It's where I keep all my doodads in the back there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is make a note. We're going to have to insert this into a different spot, into that spot when we're editing. So I'll make a note when we're doing this on the other thing. Got some thank yous too, by the way. So we had David Yablonsky, who gave us a super chat. Thank you. We have Joey Mack, who became a new member. And then David Parker also left us a super chat. So thank you all for your support during the stream here. Much appreciated. All right, so I'm going to come back to me because I'm going to go from that to me to back to that. So we're going to stay on me the whole time here. All right. Let me just do this real quick here. 3, 2, 1. Now, in addition to plugging things in directly, you can also connect your phone and other 3, 2, 1. Now, in addition to those direct connections for audio, it also supports Bluetooth, so you can have it work as a simple Bluetooth speaker. Okay. Done. Fixed. Thank you, William. Otherwise, I would have had to put one of those little lower thirds up, and I always like to rather, explain it versus show it if I can. So, Bluetooth support, insert before moving on from input options. Hopefully Jake will understand that. There we go. Perfect. Okay. Now, where did we leave the last clip? We left it on that. So, I think I'm going to plug it in because now we can kind of show how it works. So I'll get this thing going. All right, and you can see it come online here. Yeah, the cover doesn't come off on this thing. It is like, it seems like it's glued on. So it is not moving. I've seen some pictures from some of the Amazon press events that they never invite me to that have some clear versions of it. I would love to be invited to one of those things. Okay, because they usually do those in New York, and I'm not far from New York. I go to New York all the time, as we talked about. Debbie, I don't know the answer to that on the Bluetooth. I would guess it's probably going to do whatever the other versions do. Okay, so I think we're booted up here. Let's see. I am going to go into my app and just change the trigger word so that I can. So, we've been editing out the A word when we say it, but if we can not do that, I prefer to do that. By the way, the other thing that they do now, they have like their premium music thing, and if you ask for something that's not on the Prime tier, they try to get you to agree to subscribe to like the premium thing. You get 30 days for free, and they start charging you. But I could see my kid just saying, "Sure, okay, I'll do that." I don't like that. It was too easy to order, much too easy to order. I'm guessing I would get pushed a notification or something if that was the case, but I was not happy with that happening. Then it just, what reminded me about this is I'm looking in the app, it was, all right, so we're going to change this one. Updating your wake word may take a few minutes. You can okay, so we'll just switch that over. All right, it just responded, it blinked, so I think that might have been it. Computer, what time is it?
The time is 5:23 p.m.
Okay, so it is functional. There we go. All right, let me just get my chat back up for the Amazon thing. Okay, there we go. Okay. So I'm going to mention something about that and when we get a little bit further into the video here. All right, so we got the analog inputs taken care of. We got the speakers taken care of. We're going to talk about the microphones now. And I think, yeah, you can see the little, maybe I'll point to them. They're a little bit shadowed out there. Let me see if I can get this light angled a little bit better to give us a little more of a, brighten it up a little bit. Oops. Yeah, it's a little better. Just got to get the color temperature to match on these again. I just need to hire somebody to do lighting for me. It'd be so much, just have them to come in and just do all this stuff for me because it's such a bane of my existence. All right, so we ended the last shot there. So I think I'm going to come back. I'm going to start on me, and then I can refer. Yes, this will be a good. So I'll put my hand down, and then that'll at least show what's on the top here. And this is the mute button. Can make a song about this. It's got a nice beat. All right, I'll put you all to sleep here. What does that do? Well, that's just like a manual thing. What is that?
I didn't get that.
Okay, so I can push the button and not have to say the word. Okay, that's what that's for.
As an adjective, adverb, interjection, noun, and verb, okay is usually defined as okay, all right, proceeding normally, satisfactory or under control.
You know what's funny? That's exactly what I would expect this thing to answer me with. That was good. Yes. Yeah, I always, one of my favorite, I love Star Trek 4 when he picks the mouse up and says, computer. Sorry, there, she just triggered. Just triggered, okay. Okay, let's stop dilly-dallying here, Mr. Lon. We've got to get dinner going in a minute. Okay. Well, actually ended on, oh, it was the other one. Hang on, let's make sure I'm in the right spot here. I'm just checking my footage. Okay. All right. 3, 2, 1. I would love the wake word to be Hal. I'd like to have a custom wake word. I would be really happy if I could do that. Motorola was doing that for a while with their phones. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Now, at its core, this is your usual Amazon Echo device. You can issue the A word command to have it do things. I've changed my trigger word to something different, so hopefully you won't have to turn off all your devices to watch this review. And if I say something like, computer, tell me the weather in New York City tomorrow.
Here's the forecast for tomorrow in New York. Look for some sun and snow flurries, with a high of 39 degrees Fahrenheit and a low of 26 degrees.
I think I might ask it for the time or something faster. So let me do this take again here. All right, one more time. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Now, at its core, it is an Amazon Echo device, and you can issue A-word commands and have it do things for you. So, for example, if I use my trigger word here, computer, what time is it?
The time is 5:26 p.m.
And like other Amazon Echo devices, you can see when I did issue the trigger word, the lights lit up in the direction in which I was speaking. There are microphones all around this device. I found that when you're relatively close to it, it can pick you up even when it's blasting music. When we were running that heavy metal tune a little earlier, I was able to issue a command to it. It actually heard me say it, even though it was really, really loud. I did step across to the other side of the room with that same music playing, and I had to scream at it to get it to respond. So it's going to be listening better when you're closer, obviously, than further away. But if it's in the context of a living room or something, I think it'll be able to pick you up pretty decently, even if it is blasting out music at you. It's kind of neat how they are able to make that work. It's got the usual controls here at the top. You've got a mute button here that will mute the device and not allow it to take any commands. It will light up red here to let you know that it is muted. Unmuted, of course, will get you back to normal. You have some manual volume controls here, and you can see as you turn it up higher, the band here will fill up, and then you can push this button here to manually trigger the word and issue the device a command. So overall, as an Echo device, it is pretty much par for the course and works quite well as one. All right. I think that was decent. Yeah, I would love to be able to have it just make dinner like that. That would be awesome. All right, so our overview conclusion. And then we're going to get into some of the other stuff now. I think, I'm just looking at my list here. I think we're going to talk about sound quality now, and then I'm going to get into, I'm just looking through my list here. Okay, I'm going to talk about these three things now, and then we're going to jump into the home theater demo with the Fire TV. That's going to take a bulk of the review, I think. Well, it's funny, my kids eat like 3 things, so making them dinner is not difficult. But I do the Blue Apron meal kits. And well, actually alternate. I do freshly a lot, which I think I talked to some of you about before, which is nice because they're pre-cooked and you just put them in the microwave and they're actually good. It's not like processed stuff, it's good. But I have more time in the evenings during this time of the year because my school board stuff isn't as busy, except this week it is, or next week. So I like to cook every once in a while. So the Blue Apron stuff is nice because I don't have to go and get all the stuff. It comes to me. So I've been doing that. I think Amazon does those too. I have to check it out. Brandon, P22589 is here. Welcome. All right. So we're going to talk about sound quality. And then we're going to get into the home theater stuff. All right. Homer Dude is asking about the HD Home Run 6. No, I've got nothing for you. If I hear anything at CES, you, of course, will hear about it. They're not going to say anything more about it until it's ready to ship. I guess they've had some issues with components and stuff to do that. Nick wants to know, did I buy? Yes, I bought. I bought this one. And I was thinking like I was just going to go back and resell it, but I might keep it. It actually sounds pretty good. I'm thinking about getting another one and using it as a sound bar upstairs. It's that good. All right, so let me talk about sound quality. Hang on, I got kids screaming upstairs. It's funny, like my youngest, like when she's angry, the pitch of her voice, I can hear it down here. Usually I don't hear anybody's voices up there just clunking around. So, all right, so actually these are good questions that I'm getting because from Steve here, because here's the deal with this. You can't use this as a stereo pair unless you go through the whole Amazon thing. So, yeah, you're not going to use this unless you've got a Fire TV. I'm going to make sure we really harp on that because this is like directly tied to that as a home theater speaker. It is not like a Bose that'll work with anything. For sure. Good. Thank you for asking that. I think we really need to just like doubly note that because I think a lot of people are looking at this thing being Atmos compatible and like, oh, it'll work with everything. No, you got to have a Fire TV and you got to have the right Fire TVs. The new ones, most of the new ones, we'll cover the compatibility there. All right. Asmir from Bosnia, welcome. Great to have so many people from around the world watching. I'm not sure if these are available in Bosnia, but I'm sure you could find one somewhere, or they'll get there. Jeff Bezos has far-reaching ability to sell things. Russell, can it be used with the Shield? Not really. You can use it as a Bluetooth speaker, but if you're not using the Fire TV, this is not going to be a good home theater speaker for you, and we'll definitely be covering that because I think a lot of folks are saying, oh, it's Atmos, it'll work with everything. Not quite. All right. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Now, it's often very difficult in a YouTube review to give you a sense of what this thing sounds like. Ultimately, we're limited by what speakers you are using to listen to this video and what microphones that I have. So you'll have to just take my word for what I think about audio quality here. I have to say, I was blown away by how good this sounded. I've been impressed over the years with how some of these speakers sound, these little circular speakers, but this one is far better than most of the ones that I have played with. The most comparable one that I've reviewed was the Apple HomePod, which sounded great, but not this great. This thing really, for a single speaker, surprisingly fills you up with a good range of sound. I'm going to start again. I want to better describe this. All right, 3, 2, 1. Now, it's often hard in one of these reviews to accurately depict what this thing sounds like because I'm limited by the microphones that I have and the computer speakers or the headphones that you're listening to this on. But I will say the sound quality on here really surprised me. In fact, I tweeted out something a little bit earlier where I said, hey, this is the real deal. I was blown away by the range of sound that you're getting here, how far the sound fills the room when you're in front of it. It was really impressive to me, the range that this is delivering. And it's doing that because it does have a good mix of speakers inside of it that are all firing off in the right directions. When you first plug it in, it'll take a sample of your room to figure out the acoustics and how to best direct the audio. You can't run that calibration again after you first plug it in, but apparently it's always adjusting. So if you do move it someplace else, it will adapt to the new environment that it's in. I think a room with, square dimensions, walls and ceilings that are not vaulted or rounded will probably work the best for some of the 3D audio effects that you can get out of this. But by and large, even with general music content that's not surround sound or 3D or whatever, it was really, really good for a standalone speaker device. Now you can get another one and pair it up, though you have to do that within the Amazon ecosystem. So there are some limitations with other brands of devices that will probably limit the usefulness of the speaker with other things. But overall, if you are in the Amazon environment, I think the sound quality is going to be great. Now, they do have some 3D audio options available, but they require you to go onto their high-definition music service, which is another subscription, even if you have Prime. When you do ask for one of those songs, it might offer you a preview of that. Just be careful because it'll give you the 30 days and then it'll start charging after that. So make sure you are very careful about what you ask for. It does, though, have a sampler of 3D music that you can listen to as part of your purchase here. So you can get a feel for what that 3D audio might sound like. And again, that 3D audio is only going to be available through Amazon. I think I want to do that again because I'm kind of going, I'm not transitioning properly. So let me try this one more time. I don't script my reviews, by the way, if it's not already apparent. So a lot of times what I do is I go through it a couple of times and then I kind of like, kind of whittle it into what I want to say based on just getting the words out. So we're going to repeat this one more time. And sometimes what happens when I'm editing, I find, you know what, that prior take was better at the beginning, but the middle was better here. So sometimes I'll actually grab portions of 2 or 3 different takes and drop them in. So it's my workflow can be kind of erratic like that, but it's how I work. It seems to work fine for me. All right, so after we do this segment, we're going to get the Fire TV and a monitor up on the desk, and then we're going to start running with some of the other stuff there. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Now it's often, let me start again. 3, 2, 1. Now, it's often difficult to give you a real depiction as to how something sounds through a video review like this one. But I will say I was really blown away by the audio quality on this device. I think the different types of speakers they chose for it, how the device can actively figure out the acoustics of the room, really leads to just a tremendously good audio. One more time. 3, 2, 1. Now, it's often difficult in a video review to accurately depict what a speaker sounds like. And I will say that this one was really impressive to me, more so than some of the other speakers like it that I have looked at before. I would say the closest one to this one that I reviewed was the Apple HomePod. And this one sounds a lot better for a lot less money. And I think it's due to the speaker placement and some of the active things that the speaker is doing to read the acoustics of the room. When you first plug it in, it will do a little check and basically run a small audio file to adjust itself to the room it's placed into. And then it will continually adjust as time goes on. So if you happen to move it to another room, it will tune itself correctly. And it just seems to be working quite well, better than I expected. Even just regular stereo audio just sounds really good out of this thing. Great range of sound, good bass, not quite subwoofer boom, but it's got a good amount of thump to it. And I was just really pleased with the overall sound quality. And I think if you're looking for a good, simple music speaker that you can place somewhere in the house, this one is certainly going to do quite well. And I think it's a pretty good value as a result based on its price point. Now, there are some other things, though, that this can do with this speaker setup involving 3D audio and Atmos sound. The 3D audio is only available through Amazon. That's the only one that's going to work properly with the speaker here. It sounds pretty good, but you do need to have an HD music subscription from Amazon, which is another purchase beyond your Prime subscription. So be prepared for that. They do, though, have a sampler that you can listen to for free of 3D music. So if you wanted to get a sense as to what you would get with that subscription, you can do that without having to commit to anything. And I was quite pleased with how that music sounded. But again, the regular stereo stuff sounded just fine out of this as well. So just try it out, see if it's for you, but I don't think you need to go there. But again, if you like it, you can subscribe and get it. The Atmos audio, though, is going to be a little bit more limiting. because you have to use this with a compatible Fire TV device. It does not work with anything else for Atmos audio. So if you've got an NVIDIA Shield or an Apple TV or something like that, it is not going to pair up with that and deliver Atmos quality audio. That's very important because I've been getting a lot of questions from folks who've been wondering if they can hook it up to this or that. It is strictly limited to Amazon for home theater usage. You can plug other things in, you can pair other things up with Bluetooth, but you're not going to get the full Atmos effect here without using an Amazon Fire device that is compatible. Compatibility is pretty good with the recent Amazon devices. So the Fire TV Stick 4K is compatible, but not the non-4K stick. The Amazon Fire TV Cube, both the first and second generation work with it, and the third generation Fire TV is also compatible, but that is it. So all that said, let's get my Fire TV out here and see how it works with it. All right, everybody, what do you think of that? Had a couple of little slip-ups here or there, but I might be able to fix those in post, as they say. So we'll say sound quality and compatibility. I think I may want to play that back just so I can see if I'm happy with it. And if you all think, if there's anything you thought that wasn't good, I want to hear about it, because I don't want this to be an echo chamber. I want it to be, I want the truth. All right, hang on, folks. Let me 3, 2, 1 here for you. Now, it's often difficult in a video review to accurately depict what a speaker sounds like. And I will say that this one was really impressive to me, more so than some of the other speakers like it that I have looked at before. I would say the closest one to this one that I reviewed was the Apple HomePod. And this one sounds a lot better for a lot less money. And I think it's due to the speaker placement and some of the active things that the speaker is doing to read the acoustics of the room. When you first plug it in, it will do a little check and basically run a small audio file to adjust itself to the room it's placed into. And then it will continually adjust as time goes on. So if you happen to move it to another room, it will tune itself correctly. And it just seems to be working quite well, better than I expected. Even just regular stereo audio just sounds really good out of this thing. Great range of sound, good bass, not quite subwoofer boom, but it's got a good amount of thump to it. And again, I was just really pleased with the overall sound quality. And I think if you're looking for a good, simple music speaker that you can place somewhere in the house, this one is certainly going to do quite well. And I think it's a pretty good value as a result based on its price point. Now, there are some other things, though, that this can do with this speaker setup involving 3D audio and Atmos sound. The 3D audio is only available through Amazon. That's the only one that's going to work properly with the speaker here. It sounds pretty good, but you do need to have an HD music subscription from Amazon, which is another purchase beyond your Prime subscription. So be prepared for that. They do, though, have a sampler that you can listen to for free of 3D music. So if you wanted to get a sense as to what you would get with that subscription, you can do that without having to commit to anything. And I was quite pleased with how that music sounded. But again, the regular stereo stuff sounded just fine out of this as well. So just try it out, see if it's for you, but I don't think you need to go there. But again, if you like it, you can subscribe and get it. The Atmos audio, though, is going to be a little bit more limiting. Because you have to use this with a compatible Fire TV device. It does not work with anything else for Atmos audio. So if you've got an NVIDIA Shield or an Apple TV or something like that, it is not going to pair up with that and deliver Atmos quality audio. That's very important because I've been getting a lot of questions from folks who've been wondering if they can hook it up to this or that. It is strictly limited to Amazon for home theater usage. You can plug other things in, you can pair other things up with Bluetooth, but you're not going to get the full Atmos effect here without using an Amazon Fire device that is compatible. Compatibility is pretty good with the recent Amazon devices. So the Fire TV Stick 4K is compatible, but not the non-4K stick. The Amazon Fire TV Cube, both the first and second generation work with it, and the third generation Fire TV is also compatible, but that is it. So all that said, let's get my Fire TV out here and see how it works with it. All right. Actually, that came out pretty good. You know, I tell you what, I really feel like I work better when you're watching me do this stuff. It's kind of funny. Sometimes I take forever to do this. I may actually be done with this shoot within the next 20 minutes or so, which is unheard of. Thank you, David. Yeah, I think, what's interesting is, body language is really important for conveying messages. I think people react, I think people use body language to infer things, you know what I mean? Like, even though I'm just doing this subconsciously, but it's a big part of delivery. Is the Fire TV box 2? No. No, the second generation box is not. It's only the third generation. If you go on the Amazon page for this, they give right at the top, which is good that they're doing this, right at the top of the screen, they will show you what's compatible with it. All right, so we've got the thing up here. Let me go over to settings. The only issue that I've encountered with this, at least like the only thing that I was unsure of was whether or not I was in Atmos or not. So that was the only thing that, it doesn't really tell you that it's doing Atmos audio. So, so now I got to remember where this stuff is. I think it's in, so there's a setting here for adjusting the lip sync, which I know you all will find of interest. Hang on, let me go over to, so you would think it'd be in here, but it's not. It's in, display and sounds. Oh yeah, home theater system, volume control, and then lip sync tuning. So we're going to talk about this in a minute. And you can, and what's happening here is it's like reconnecting because it has to resync the audio. So you can get it fine-tuned to where you want it to be. So we're going to talk about that. And then I actually shot some B-roll earlier of the setup process. It's actually really easy because once you get this on the network, the Fire TV will find it and then communicate that way with it. And I'm not sure how it works, but it's intriguing. William Wilkinson, will it work with Plex? It will. However, as we've talked about here before, the Plex home theater stuff that I do, like the full-on Blu-ray rips and stuff, those don't work with Plex on the Fire TV, so I don't think you're going to get the Atmos effect there. I think it's going to be limited to the Atmos that is being delivered over, over these streaming services like Netflix and Disney Plus and everything. So that's a good point to bring up here as well. Yes, it does support that, Richard. So my understanding is that it will support Atmos in anything that supports Atmos from a streaming service perspective. And what's interesting about these Atmos services is that this is not the Atmos quality that you're going to get off a Blu-ray DVD or off a Blu-ray 4K. I'm sorry, Blu-ray DVD, 4K Blu-ray. It's the compressed Atmos that's basically being delivered within the bandwidth that Dolby Digital Plus might be delivered with. So it's a very different level of quality. And I still think the discs are really critical for that. So yep, Richard, happy to answer your question because that is what the chat is all about, is hearing those questions. And by the way, I don't always see every chat that comes through because I've had this thing on the other top chat thing. So I'll try to keep an eye on that chat there. Okay, so we're going to figure out, where did I leave off? We talked about sound quality and Atmos. Fire TV is also compatible, but that is it. So all that said, let's get my Fire TV out here and see how it works with it. Okay, so I'm going to jump back to, I just want to have a spot where people can find in the settings where to get at this. So we're going to look at this, and then I have my, see that? Boom. So this is from my NDI box there. Okay. Okay, so, I answered Richard's question before as he was writing it. See that? It's all, I can read your minds. I can read your minds, for sure. And my wife's going to be, so I got like 10 minutes here to finish this up. I think we can do this. We can do this, folks. We're all in this together. 275 folks watching. Very good. This is actually probably the best stream I have done so far. So thank you all for tuning in so far. And if you're watching on Amazon, feel free to ask questions on that platform too. All right. Actually, no, I'm going to start off. I'm ending on me. So, okay. 3, 2, 1. All right, so we are looking right now at the Fire TV Stick 4K that is plugged into the back of this monitor here. A little bit earlier, I paired it up with the speaker. It was actually very easy to do. You go into the Amazon app and you click on the plus icon and follow a couple of short things to get the speaker paired up. And each Fire TV, I believe, can get 2 of these pairs. I should not say I believe. I should really solidify that. I think you can do 2 speakers and a subwoofer, if I am not mistaken, but let me just double check that. Home theater, Fire TV. And you have to, the other thing is you have to make sure you're up to date, because when I was like bummed out because as I was testing this afternoon, I had gotten everything set up, and then the thing was telling me the Fire TV that I had wasn't compatible. I said, oh, you got to be kidding me. I got to go out and buy another thing, but I just had to update. I had to update it. Okay. Okay, so 2.1. So it does support 2.1. Okay. All right. Okay, there we go. Okay, we're good there. And hopefully the noise upstairs won't be too bad. I'm hearing little voices going up there, so hopefully they can. All right. 3, 2, 1. All right, so I've got my. Let's make sure. I wonder if my wife is home. Maybe she isn't home. I think I hear the sitter's voice up there. Hang on a second. I may have to go upstairs and just tell everybody to quiet down for a second. Not a big deal for the live stream, but I don't want to have all that noise popping in on the main thing here. So let's see if my wife is actually. Oh, she is here. Okay, good. Almost done. Can we keep noise levels down? Okay. Yeah, there's children. They're having fun, but they're screaming up there. I don't know if you can hear that on the mic or not, but I am hearing it. All right. It's funny, when I was a kid, my dad was starting his business, and he ran it out of the house, and we had to be very quiet during the day because Dad was always on the phone doing his work, and we didn't want to, you didn't want to have kids screaming in the background. So, okay. Debbie Nelly wants to know if there's sound insulation on the studio. Yeah, so I have some foam above me here for sound dampening, and then I put in kind of sound dampening ceiling tiles, but they're still not perfect. And what's funny is adult voices I rarely hear down here, but the kids, like that high-pitched squeals that they can make, those just come right through. So the bigger issue though is just the thumping around up there. So as they're jumping around, or sometimes it sounds like elephants are like running through the thing. And we have like a big, so my upstairs is got a kitchen, but the kitchen is just open. The whole downstairs is an open space, which is awesome for when we have people over. Because so much of our lives are down in that part of the house, like there's constant movement going around all the time. So, okay. Aaron Johnson, just a quick question, was asking about, David has no basements in Florida. That's right. You guys don't have basements there. Well, it's great. When I bought this this house, I was looking at this basement. I'm like, oh, this basement's awesome. And it took me, this is my 3rd year now with the basement, because I had done it right before my youngest was born. And it was my entire YouTube earnings to date to rebuild the basement down here. But it felt so good to like be able to make that investment from my work. It was just, you know what I mean? Like, it was money. Yeah, it's one thing to get a salary, but it's like the work that I did to build this thing. It's like built with my own effort. It was just awesome. And so I did the basement over, and it's been great. What's funny though is I never come down here unless I'm working. I just can't. It's funny, I just don't come down when I'm not working. And then Aaron was asking about the Fire tablets. Yeah, they don't support, I don't think the Fire tablets support YouTube TV either. I'd have to check on that. And Sam, to answer your question about the Sonos and the G Home, I haven't tried those. And I'll probably mention that at the end. I don't like to comment on things that I haven't tried, so I can't really compare it to those yet. So I will maybe make mention of that towards the end. Okay. Kenneth wants to know what I do for a living. Now it is. All right, so let's see. Let's see. Okay, so I have my Fire TV. Let's see. Okay, so I have my Fire TV. Let's see. Okay, so I have my Fire TV. Let's see. Okay, so I have my Fire TV. Let's see. Okay, so I have my Fire TV. Let's see. Okay, so I have my Fire TV. Let's see. Okay, so I have my Fire TV. Let's see. Okay, so I have my Fire TV. Let's see. Okay, so I have my Fire TV. Let's see. Okay, so I have my Fire TV. Let's see. Okay, so I have my Fire TV. Let's see. Okay, so I have my Fire TV. Let's see. Okay, so I have my Fire TV. Let's see. Okay, so I have my Fire TV. Let's see. Okay, so I have my Fire TV. Let's see. Okay, so I have my Fire TV. Let's see. Okay, so I have my Fire TV. Let's see. Okay, so I have my Fire TV. Let's see. Okay, so I have my Fire TV. Let's see. Okay, so I have my Fire TV. Let's see. Okay, so I have my Fire TV. Let's see. Okay, so I have my Fire TV. Let's see. Okay, so I have my Yeah, it looks like Steve is having some video issues. I'm not seeing any on this end. Things are working good this time. I have a feeling that because we're up past 300 viewers, that this is YouTube's not used to me getting this many, so maybe they've got to redistribute out to some CDNs or something. What's interesting about how this live streaming stuff works is that it needs to deliver the live video from me to data centers that are closer to where you are, that I would imagine there's probably some stepping that goes on depending on how many people are watching. So that could be something that happens there. All right, so let's pick it up from here. And see, it's working fine in Denmark for Repair Guy DK. And also, too, it depends on what kind of peering arrangements they have with your ISP. So that's something to think about. I'm sure YouTube is paying Comcast a lot of money to get the level of service that we get on Comcast, primarily because Comcast is this monopolistic force and they can charge for that kind of stuff. But that's a whole other video. All right, I'm still bent out of shape that my upload speeds are so poor. So that's my thing. All right, 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. So we have our 3, 2, 1. So we have our Echo Studio paired up with a Fire TV 4K stick, and the process of getting things working was pretty simple. I did have to make sure that my Fire TV stick was up to date, and I had to go through 2 iterations of updates to get it there. So if it doesn't work initially, check that firmware, because that's what I had to do to get everything going. It was, though, very easy to get things set up after I did that update. I hit the plus icon on the app, I selected home theater system, and then followed a few steps to get this paired up with my Fire TV. It was actually pretty easy to get it all going. It'll play you a nice little Atmos audio demo, and then you're good to go and you can get into stuff. Now, I'm sure a lot of you might be asking about lip sync, because there's no direct connection here between the Fire Stick behind the TV here and the speaker. This is all happening wirelessly, I believe, over your network. And the one good thing is that they have some adjustments for lip sync on here. So if you jump into your Fire TV settings and go over to Display and Sounds and select Home Theater System, you can adjust a couple of things. One is gaming audio. This is important because if you are playing a game, it will route the audio through your TV and not back out to the speaker, because, of course, actually, I think this is probably for, let me try this again. Oh, you know what? That's for, we're going to have to start this again because the garage door is opening now. Hang on a second. This is when you're playing a game on the Fire Stick, because the audio would be totally messed up. So I'll let this door close there. Well, I think what it is, Doug, Doug's asking how much I make a day. It varies. It's not a matter of per day or per diem. It's a matter of whether or not I can, the finances can work. I did a lot of financial planning. I had some buffer that I had saved up before I took the plunge. It's one of those things where you have to really make sure that you can afford to do it before you do it. And that's something that I spend a lot of time doing. So that's part of the thing. And then, the other thing is that in order to I think to do this properly, especially given all the stuff that's going on with the FTC in regards to proper brand relationships and that sort of thing, I was convinced early on, and just because it's the nature of who I am, that you need to do this more as a journalist than as somebody who's for hire on everything, and that is much more difficult. So it took longer it took me about 3 or 4 years of just kind of grinding things out with the day job. So I'd work all day, put the kids to bed, come down here and work late. Some nights I was up to 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning getting a video ready, and then went back to work the next day. So that kind of stuff was the early goings with it. But then I was able to build up enough of a buffer. Then when the channel got to a point where things were in a position where I could use some of the buffer and some of the other stuff to make it all work, it's good. And then the other thing with this business is that it's a seasonal business. So a bulk of the revenue that you get as a product reviewer on YouTube is in the fourth quarter during the holiday shopping season. So you have to kind of plan around that your first 2 quarters of the year will see a lower amount of money coming in than they do towards the end of the year. And having, again, things, good financial planning really helps with that. But I was fortunate in a couple of ways, but also planned properly. And I didn't jump in too quickly. I kind of inched my way towards this, and now it's working, and it's nice. But to David's point, you invest the time. That's, people ask me, how did you get to do that? You're so lucky. I'm not lucky. I did the work. You do the work, and you have this opportunity available to you as a citizen of the 21st century. You've got these platforms that let anybody do this. So I didn't have to get selected by an editor or have to have an agent. I just started putting stuff out there, and people responded favorably to it. And I adjust based on what the audience says, and the next thing you know, you're running a business, and that's how I put it together. So I think the biggest problem that people have doing this stuff is they don't start. And I'd rather, and I still think this way, I'd rather have something that's not the best go out than nothing at all. I have time now to make it better, so I've done that back and forth. But it's it's a grind, and it sucks sometimes, to be honest with you. Not all the time. I mean, actually, since I went full time, it doesn't suck at all. But there were some times when I was like just dead the next day at work because I was up all night working on something that I had to get out, and it's just how it goes. Thank you, Doug, for your super chat contribution. That does help, believe it or not. It does help. And actually, some folks don't know, I have two people that work for me. I've got a part-timer who does about 20 to 25 hours a week. His name is Jake. He's stopping by in about 2 hours to pick up some stuff. And then I also have another guy named James, who's away at college now, but he does some of my SEO and some of my uploading to other platforms. And all the funds that we get in through Super Chat and Patreon and the membership stuff, that all goes to pay their salaries. It subsidizes, I pay more than what I'm getting in on those platforms, but those dollars go right to the help here. So those dollars help to create jobs. So your contributions don't go to me, it goes to them. And I want to be able to have a business one day where I can have a bunch of people working full time. We'll get there eventually. All right, let's pick this video up here so I can get done and cook dinner now, because my wife's getting hungry, I think. So we've got about 20, 30 minutes here before I'm totally done. All right, 3, 2, 1. So we've got the Fire TV stick paired up with our Echo Studio, and the process of getting it working is pretty simple, provided your Fire TV is up to date. One of the things that I had to do when I first started getting everything set up was I had to go through a bunch of firmware updates. Let me start this again. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Now we've got the Echo Studio paired up with a Fire TV stick now, and it was pretty easy to get things working once I did all of the firmware updates on the Fire TV stick. You got to make sure it's up to date, and in my case, my Fire TV stick had to be updated 2 or 3 times to get everything working properly. But if you are up to date and you've got your speaker on the network, you jump over to your Amazon app on your phone, you hit the plus icon, you go down to Home Theater, and then you can pair up the speaker with the Fire TV. The Fire TV will support a 2.1 channel system, meaning you can pair 2 speakers and the Amazon subwoofer with it. And all of this stuff works wirelessly. You don't have to plug anything into anything else. You just go in and configure everything on the app, and the Fire TV will then start directing its audio to the speakers. And the Atmos will work, again, only with the Fire TV in this scenario. So if you wanted to use 2 of these with an NVIDIA Shield or an Apple TV or something, you're not going to be able to do it because those are simply a one-to-one connection. Stereo, surround sound, Atmos, whatever you want to do, it's got to be with a Fire TV device. Now you might be curious about whether or not things stay in sync, because of course we are relying partially on the network here to get our audio across, and there's always issues with synchronization there. So if you go into your settings on your Fire TV and go to Display and Sounds, there's an option here for Home Theater System. And when you select that, you've got a couple of relevant options here. One is about gaming audio. If you are playing games on your Fire TV, you don't want the game audio to come through your speaker because there will be a lot of lag and delay there. So for games, it will disable that and have the audio go through the TV instead. Anything else goes to the speakers. And then if you want to adjust the lip syncing, in other words, the audio synchronization for video content that you're watching, you can go over here to lip sync tuning and fine tune your audio. So it'll pull up this interface here, and you can see that bouncing dot hitting that thing running across the screen. It reminds me of a Pong or Breakout. And you can use this to better adjust things. And you can turn it down a little bit here. You'll hear the audio delay for a second. It'll resync, and you can fine-tune this. And this is similar to what I've seen on other devices as well. So for lip syncing, it works fine. And you can adjust it if you need to. But I found for my stuff, the default worked just fine out of the box. All right. So Debbie Nola, yeah, my wife is a athlete. She does like some like TRX workout stuff, and then she's also a martial artist. She does Kempo karate. She's a two-stripe black belt. She's a deadly weapon, and you don't want to mess with her. But she's burning a lot of energy, plus with the kids too. So. So yeah, we got to, and she gets hangry. Hopefully she's not watching right now, but she gets hangry when she's hungry. So we got to be careful with that stuff. All right, so I think we've got. Let's take a look at my notes here. If you want to see them, here I'll pull them up on my overhead view. So we talked about setup. We didn't talk about wanting 2 speakers, so we're going to talk about that. We did do this. Okay, so we're going to now, and I think I have some B-roll from before on my phone. So I'm just going to check what I have on my phone to make sure I have enough footage to, yeah, so I've got like the Han Solo movie running here. Okay, good. All right, so I'm going to just do a talker on that one, and then we'll wrap it up here. Jake Scott wants to know about Valve fixing the index controllers. I have not heard anything about that. You know, I ended up returning my Valve Index because I had issues with the optics on it, just based on how my eyes interact with it. So actually, we may end up doing a update on the Quest later, because they're doing all this stuff on the Quest. It's crazy. They added the USB thing for the PC connection, but now they're adding hand tracking just through the Quest's native optics. That thing's like, it's a mobile phone and it's doing all this stuff. I'm eager to try that. So we'll see how it goes. All right. It kills me when we're talking about home theater stuff that it's hard to show things or have sound be made because we run such a risk of copyright stuff. So I have the Solo movie running here, and I had some other B-roll of this. What is this? This is, I shoot a lot of B-roll on my phone, by the way. All right. Okay, so we're going to talk about the Solo movie and then how Amazon requests get put up there. And I think I ended the last clip on me. So I'm going to just talk about my experience now. 3, 2, 1. Now, a little bit earlier, I played a few Atmos movies from streaming services. I'm going to probably show the Han Solo movie. I'm not sure if that one is, I'll just talk about it. 3, 2, 1. Now, I did play a couple of movies from a few streaming services, some of them Atmos. Unfortunately, I don't really know when we're in Atmos audio versus not, but I selected movies that said they were Atmos supported, so hopefully we'll get some indicator to know that we're in Atmos mode. And this is where having only one speaker becomes a little bit more noticeable. I am hearing sound bouncing off the right areas, but a bulk of that sound is still coming, in my case, from the right side of the TV, with nothing coming out of the left side. So I think you definitely want to get a second one of these if you're really intending to use this as a home theater device. The movie watching is one area where you'll definitely feel a little off kilter by having all the sound kind of coming out of one area of the room, even though it is effectively bouncing audio where appropriate. But I have to say, as a soundbar alternative, it's really good, provided you're using an Amazon Fire TV to connect it to. I was very pleased and surprised by how good, crisp, and clear everything sounded. The fact that you have different speakers doing different things is noticeable, and I think it makes it a much better option for Fire TV owners who are considering getting a soundbar. It really is good, but again, I think you want to get 2. Another cool thing that happens when you have it connected to a Fire TV is that requests made of the speaker will have their output displayed on screen. So if you're asking for a weather report or playing back some music or something, what the speaker is doing will sync up with your Fire TV. So you'll get that weather report visually on screen. You'll also get lyrics for songs as you're listening to things as well. So altogether, it seems like a very nicely integrated product with the Fire TV. But again, to get the home theater features, it will only work with the Fire TV and nothing else. I think that works, right, folks? Let me know what you think about that. What's funny is the pressure of all of you watching, all 362 of you right now, like that makes me work better. So thank you for helping me with that. And I just got to go back to my Amazon live chat here. All right. I'm going to add one. I think I'm almost done here. I may be able to wrap up this shoot, which is great, and then I can start working on dinner. This is home theater experience. And if I need to, I can always grab some extra footage. That's the, I'll tell you what, having the phone is great. So, Hakuru-san, thank you very much for your super chat contribution. I am very grateful to you and everyone who's been supporting the channel this evening and throughout the year. All right, so I got that covered. And you know what's funny, when I first reviewed the Amazon Echo when it first came out, there's a lot more to explain, and now everybody knows what they do, so it's hard to... Yeah, I think that's it. I'll tell you what, it would be great if this thing would work with more than just the one thing, right? I mean, I know they want you to buy all their other stuff, but that's crazy. Jake Scott says, if you think about how many people 360 something really is, it's wild. It is kind of crazy, isn't it? Like we couldn't fit them in this house, but we're all watching. So, all right. Okay, let's now wrap up to the end here, and then we'll go from there. So I think I do want to play this section back just to hear it again. So let me mute my mic here for a second. 3, 2, 1. Now, I did play a couple of movies from a few streaming services, some of them Atmos. Unfortunately, I don't really know when we're in Atmos audio versus not, but I selected movies that said they were Atmos supported, so hopefully we'll get some indicator to know that we're in Atmos mode. And this is where having only one speaker becomes a little bit more noticeable. I am hearing sound bouncing off the right areas, but a bulk of that sound is still coming, in my case, from the right side of the TV, with nothing coming out of the left side. So I think you definitely want to get a second one of these if you're really intending to use this as a home theater device. The movie watching is one area where you'll definitely feel a little off kilter by having all the sound kind of coming out of one area of the room, even though it is effectively bouncing audio where appropriate. But I have to say, as a soundbar alternative, it's really good provided you're using an Amazon Fire TV to connect it to. I was very pleased and surprised by how good, crisp, and clear everything sounded. The fact that you have different speakers doing different things is noticeable, and I think it makes it a much better option for Fire TV owners who are considering getting a soundbar. It really is good, but again, I think you want to get two. Another cool thing that happens when you have it connected to a Fire TV is that requests made of the speaker will have their output displayed on screen. So if you're asking for a weather report or playing back some music or something, what the speaker is doing will sync up with your Fire TV. So you'll get that weather report visually on screen. You'll also get lyrics for songs as you're listening to things as well. So altogether, it seems like a very nicely integrated product with the Fire TV. But again, to get the home theater features, it will only work with the Fire TV. But I have to say, as a soundbar alternative, it's really good provided you're using an Amazon Fire TV to connect it to. I was very pleased and surprised by how good, crisp, and clear everything sounded. The fact that you have different speakers doing different things is noticeable, and I think it makes it a much better option for Fire TV owners who are considering getting a soundbar. It really is good, but again, I think you want to get two. Another cool thing that happens when you have it connected to a Fire TV is that request. Good. All right. So we're going to mute myself here. Wrap on shot 2 here. I think I'm just going to zoom in on the thing just because that's the relevant thing to look at here. And the other problem I have right now is that we're getting into winter, and every time I move, I zap stuff. And I'm very nervous about this because we deal with computers and electronics on this channel, which are very susceptible to getting zapped by things. All right. Well, I am pleased. This is coming out pretty nicely, I think. Nick F says, I'm always leaving to make dinner. I'm always, you know what's happening is I'm always streaming towards the end of the day. and here's the problem is that, you know, I'll get the most viewers at this hour, but it makes life difficult on the family front. So so whenever the kids are out of the house, I always do a stream because I'm like, oh, I got time, I can do this again. It's funny like how much I'm so happy to be a dad and I love having a family and everything, but it's funny how quickly your life changes, especially in your evenings when with the family. Lane Bryden says, if you show a movie trailer instead, would that help you with copyright? It might not. Part of the problem with the trailers, though, is that you don't get the Atmos sound out of those, you know? So what I've been doing is not showing anything at all, which is sometimes the case. What I'll probably do with this one is I'll probably blur out what was on screen and just put some cheeky text up to say why we're doing it, just so I don't risk it. Because you know, the automated tools here just pick this stuff up so easily. All right, so let me finish up the video here. 3, 2, 1. So altogether, if you are a Fire TV user, this is a great device. I think I want to talk more about in general. Let's try that again. 3, 2, 1. So altogether, I am very, very pleased with the audio quality out of this speaker. It is a pretty reasonable price for the level of audio quality that you're going to get. And it's good even, again, just for regular stereo audio. But of course, there is an enhancement with some of the audio that's been mixed, especially for the 3D effects that this can provide. Home theater is great on this too. Again, a good soundbar alternative, but not a replacement for a true home theater system where you've got speakers over your head and behind you and off to the side, which of course is the ideal way to experience home theater. But if you were looking at a soundbar, getting 2 of these is comparable in price, and I think you may end up with better audio quality for less money, provided you are, though, using a Fire TV. And that's my big disappointment with this. For as good as it sounds, a lot of the functionality that they're advertising with this is limited only to the Amazon ecosystem, whether it's the 3D music through their subscription service or through their Fire TV devices. I would love for this to have more compatibility with perhaps other Android devices like the NVIDIA Shield and some of the smart TVs, or the Apple TV, or some of the other things that are out there as well. Unfortunately, to get the home theater, you are locked into Amazon and nothing else. So if you were attracted to this because of the Atmos, if you are not planning to use the Fire TV all the time, it's not going to be a solution for you. So definitely keep that in mind before you buy. Some folks may ask about Sonos and some of the other higher-end devices out there. Unfortunately, I have not tried out a Sonos or some of the other higher-end devices, so I really can't give you a comparison with those in this review, but maybe in the future I'll try to get some in and see how this stacks up against the others. But I will say it was a better audio experience on here by far versus the HomePod, and you can connect your Apple Music service to this and get the same experience, although you won't get Siri to help you out. You'll have to deal with the Amazon A-word person to help you there. That's going to do it for our look here at the Echo Studio. Until next time, this is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching. All right. I let my smile hang for a second because I used that for the thumbnail. So I just like take a frame. All right. Let's go rename this one. Conclusion. Okay, I think we're good. I just want to play that back. So Richard had a good comment here that I think is worth talking about, that YouTube should allow YouTubers to broadcast audio and video if they pay a subscription fee, and that would help with copyright strikes. You know what's funny is that a bulk of YouTubers don't actually get strikes for this usage. What happens is that they will claim the video. So let's say this video is 12 minutes long. A copyright content ID claim for even 30 seconds means all the revenue of that video goes to the content holder. So that's the risk that you run. So most of the time when people are complaining about copyright, they're not getting strikes, they're getting claimed, and then, you know, and their video stays up, but they're not earning any revenue from it. Generally, that's what happens. I mean, if I was ripping off the Han Solo movie and just putting the whole thing back up online, I could get probably a strike for that. But most of the time, it's strictly a revenue grab. But I agree, it would be nice if I had an option to maybe pay a licensing fee to the motion picture people to include their movie in what I'm talking about. That would be great to be able to do that. You do have some protection on fair use. So if I was doing a review of the movie and using clips to enhance what I was talking about, that you could probably get away with and maybe contest. But you could still get a content ID claim for that. So it's really tough. William Wilkinson wants to know what do I do for thumbnails? I use a little thing called Pixelmator. It's a Photoshop alternative on the Mac. When I quit my day job, I lost my Adobe subscription, so I had to find something less expensive because I was like, I'm not going to pay a subscription just to make thumbnails. So Pixelmator is what I use. I have a template that you can see, so I just take a still frame out of the video. Because I'm such a product-focused channel, I take a picture of the product, and then I put in a little solo of me in there as well, and you can see all those thumbnails that we're doing. Yeah, we're well past 400 people right now, and we are nearing the end because I got to go upstairs and cook dinner. And then Jake's going to be here in a little bit to pick up some stuff. He was on vacation for a little bit, so I got a lot of work ahead of me here. Cooking and more work down here and all that good stuff. But I really appreciate everybody stopping in. It's been fun doing these live streams. We're simulcasting on Amazon, and I'm going to be looking at some new ways to stream out to aggregate this out in a more reliable way, because if I go to another platform, I'll totally saturate my upstream connection. So we got to be on the lookout for some solutions there. But David enjoyed the chat, so I enjoyed it as well. So thanks for being a part of this today. I'm glad you all got something out of it. It's kind of fun to do this in front of people. Part of why I haven't done a lot of streaming of my reviews as I've been making them is I don't want to give anything away. But it's fine. I think it's good to show you how the workflow is. Maybe one day I'll do an edit session so you can see how this all comes together. I've done a few before. If you go to my live stream archive, Lon.TV/livestream, you can find out stuff there. Kenneth Mullen wants to know, what was my day job? Well, I've had a couple of different day jobs. My main job for a while was in my family's business for a long time. I was doing a whole bunch of different things there. And I left, again, about 2.5, 3 years ago. We did get acquired, so that was part of it. Not in a bad way. I had a very good relationship with the people that took over, but I was ready to do my own thing. So that's when I, once everything lined up there, that's when I decided to jump out. We were making, we did disposable gloves, believe it or not. We did some of that. I did a lot of some other stuff on the side. I was doing a lot of PR consulting on the side also. So I've done a lot of different. I've had a lot of different things that I've done. I've had a fun professional life that is always changing. Bashira wants to know what this video service is on the Amazon side. So if you are watching on Amazon, there's a link on the YouTube video. Amazon has, and actually for some time now, has had a live streaming platform on their shopping sites. You'll know they acquired Twitch, and they have the Twitch service as their thing, but they also have been streaming live directly on Amazon. You'll see them during Prime Day and stuff. They have a studio not far from me in New York City where they do almost like a home shopping club kind of broadcast, where they bring products out. They have a kitchen there and everything. And then they've been having people like me now stream onto the platform as well. So this is part of what I've been doing. This has kind of been a good incentive to just try to start doing more live streaming. So I've been simulcasting out to both. And then someone's asking about the resolution. I thought I was doing, I guess I'm only doing 720p. Yeah, looks like for YouTube it's 720. Partly because of the bandwidth limitations that I have. So I could do 1080, but I probably couldn't go out to both platforms. So what I am exploring, and this is part of what I'm going to start messing with, there's a service that I was looking at from Teradek called Core. And what that would let me do is send a single stream out, and then they would aggregate to both platforms. So I'm going to experiment with that next. There's a cost to it. It's minimal. It'll cost me like $2 or $3 per stream based on where I'm sending stuff to. It's kind of a bandwidth thing. So that is how that works. So we'll mess around. We'll try to get up to 1080, but it's going to be tough given my bandwidth limitations here. William wants to know, are people leaving YouTube and going to Twitch because Amazon owns Twitch? I think what happens is that, depending on what you're doing, there's value to the platform that you choose. I think YouTube works well for what I do. But I think if you're streaming video games, Twitch is probably a place where people want to go. YouTube tried to do its own Twitch competitor. It didn't quite work, and that's what happens there. Yeah, it's funny. If I did the same bit rate at 1080, David, it would look different. It wouldn't look as good. And I think a lot of folks are watching on a phone or something where a 720p stream is fine. So, all right, guess what, folks? I got to get out of here because I'm going to get in trouble because I am hungry. The wife is hungry. The kids are hopefully eating, and I like to help them with dinner too. So I got stuff to do, folks. But I want to thank you all for tuning in. This video that we just recorded will go up probably tomorrow, along with the unboxing video. That'll probably post in the morning. And yeah, we'll go from there. So wish me luck on dinner. And I thank you all for tuning in. I'm going to end the Amazon stream here. And I'm going to now end this thing. I don't like hanging up. I like having, having you all here. So it's fun. But I hope you all got something out of this. I certainly enjoyed it. And I will be back again very soon with more live streaming. In fact, tomorrow we may be doing more because I've got that new Blackmagic switcher coming in that is a live streaming device, so it would make sense to stream it out. And hopefully it will be here because it's going to be snowing tomorrow. So maybe we'll get some snow views from my home here too. Okay, time to go. Talk to you all in a little bit. Thanks for watching. We'll be back.